Yo guys, what is up? This is Pyrexian here, and I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. And in today's video guys, I'm going to be showing you how you can design a thumbnail for your YouTube channel. And this will actually be mainly targeted towards gaming channels, however you can make it work towards your genre channel, whether it be vlogging or whatever really. So yeah, it's mainly gaming, but you can match it to whatever channel theme that you have. So we'll be designing the thumbnail in GIMP, which I'll leave the link to download this in the description below. And this is actually a free software as well. Many professional YouTubers actually use Photoshop, which GIMP can more or less match up to Photoshop, just some things have to be done more manually, but Photoshop can do it more quickly and in some cases automatically. So yeah, GIMP is just as good as Photoshop, but you need to work a little bit more with it, but that's still good considering it is free and Photoshop costs monthly. So yeah, and yeah, we'll be making this thumbnail on screen right now today, and it's just an example, but yeah, you can put whatever text in you want and use whatever background that you like. And yeah, so you want to start by coming over to GIMP, and you want to click File in the top left, go over to New, click it, and then you have a little dialog box here. What you want to do, you want to set the width to 1280 and the height by 720. This is basically the resolution for your thumbnail, and this resolution is just HD as well. But you can go smaller if you'd like, but this is usually what I like, as it's not too big and not too small. So, because you don't want a 4K thumbnail, because it'll never be seen in that resolution. Well, it'll never be seen in 720p to be honest either, but it's still better to keep it bigger, just in case you do want to keep it in there. So yeah, you just want to go ahead and hit OK on that, and now you'll have probably a white canvas. So before we actually begin, I should have told you this before actually, but I'm going to be showing you some fonts that you can download, but in order to apply them you'll have to close and reopen GIMP. But yeah, I'll show you the fonts right now over here. So I use Supersonic Rocket Ship. I'll leave the link in the description. It's a free download, so you can go ahead download this, and I'll actually show you how to download it as well. So you want to go over, click download, and it'll download a little zip file down there. You then want to drag it. Actually no, you want to open, just right click on it and open. And then you'll have a little .ttf file, and you want to open this TTF file, and you'll have a box like this, which basically shows how the font looks like in a sentence. And yeah, so you can see the font in different sizes, and you can see all the numbers, the little punctuation marks and all that. And to install it, you just come up here, click the install button. I'm not going to click it because I've already installed it, but a little box should show up installing it, and then all you have to do after that is close it and reopen GIMP. If you've already got it open, it won't work, so you'll have to close and reopen if you have installed a font. But you can use built-in fonts as well. And now what we're going to be doing is looking for a game background. So you want to come over to Google and you want to type in game cinematics, go over to images, and basically this shows some really nice game backgrounds that you can use for your thumbnail. And what you want to go ahead and do first is come down to size below all, and you want to set it to at least 1024 by 768, because that's a little bit bigger than our thumbnail size, so that'll do. And now you want to just find one, so I'm just gonna pick one at random here. I can't really decide which one to choose. I guess this one looks cool, but you also want to make sure that it matches the theme of whatever video you're doing. So you want to go ahead, right click, copy image, come over to here, and you want to hit Control V, and this will paste it in like so. And now you want to come over to your layers here, and you want to right click where it says floating selection, and you want to right click and this box will come up. You want to go to new layer, and now this will add it to a new layer, and now we'll be able to actually edit this, which is pretty cool. And now what you can do, you can just delete the white background with Control X once you have it selected like that, because we won't need it anymore. And now I'm just going to go ahead and resize it actually. So you want to come over to the little scale tool here. If you can't find it, you can use Shift S as the hotkey, and then you'll have some things that you can drag, which is cool as well. I recommend that you make sure the aspect ratio is locked. So this is when the aspect ratio is locked, so there's no warping, it's not stretching at all. And this is when it's unlocked, like that. So you don't want that really. So we'll go ahead and lock it again, and I'm just gonna shrink it a little bit. You can also move it with the center, so I'll put it to about there, and then you hit scale, and as you can see it's not quite centered. So instead of trying to eyeball it and move it into the center, you can actually use the alignment tool up here, or if you can't find it, hit Q, and then you want to click onto this image, and when you have 4 little white boxes around the white border, that's when you know it's worked. And now you want to click the little buttons here. You want to find the horizontal and vertical ones. So there's the horizontal one, and there's the vertical. So once you've clicked that, it'll just align it perfectly for you. And now we have our image pretty well inserted into there. And now we're actually going to go ahead and add some text. So you want to come over to your text tool or hit T, and then you want to just click anywhere on your canvas, it doesn't matter. And then you want to type in whatever you are going to have. So I'm going to type in how to make thumbnails for YouTube. And you want to ensure that it's spelt properly, and in this case I'm going to just go here and hit enter to bring it down a bit, as I kind of want it to be stacked on top. And we'll actually apply the supersonic rocket ship font as well, and to do this you want to hit Control A, which will select everything, or if that doesn't work, just drag like that, and you want to come up to where it'll say something different for you, but the font that I'm using now is Dirty Brush. You can use that if you'd like, but I'm going to use Supersonic Rocket Ship, so you want to type that in and make sure you use the caps as well, because otherwise that won't it won't really work. And I'll actually go ahead and change this now. Yeah, there we go, that looks cool. Okay, right, now select everything again and just go ahead and resize. And then we use the alignment tool again and set the X and Y, the horizontal and vertical. And now we'll have this in here. You can actually go ahead and hide the background if you'd want by clicking the I, so there's no distractions, because there's a lot of black that's kind of interfering with the text. Go ahead and, yeah, there we go, that looks better. It looked a bit strange. Resize it a bit more by using this. There we go, it looks about good. And then horizontal, vertical. And then, oh, I'm going a bit ahead, I'm too used to doing this. But now, if you'd like, you can add a kind of tilt, I guess, like a little rotation to it by going over to the rotate tool over here or hitting Shift R. And then you want to click on your text layer and use the angle up here to tilt it a little bit. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to tweak the text quite a bit more. So if you want to change color and everything, basically, this is how you'll go ahead and do it. So you want to select the text and then pick a color that you'd like. I'm going to go for pink, which is my channel color. Oh, that's bright. So yeah, you want to set that. Set it to your color that you'd like. And then you want to choose a darker color. So basically, you'd want to pick that same color again, but a darker version of it. So you want to just drag this down into the black where it's about to go dark, and then we'll actually have a good gradient that we can use on it. So what you're going to do now is you want to right click the text layer and hit alpha to selection, and what this will do is it will create a selection around the text, and this will keep anything in the actual text. So I'll show you it now. This is just an example. I'm not actually going to apply this, but it kind of looks like this. So as you can see there, it doesn't go over the line at all, which is handy, and we'll be using this to its advantage. So yeah, to add the gradient, you want to come over to the gradient tool or hit G. Then you want to click a little icon down here to change it. So you'd probably want to go on to custom, but it's up to you really. And then what you want to do from there is just drag. So the darker one's actually at the top, so I'm going to switch it by clicking this button or hitting X, which is also handy. And I kind of want it to be shadowed, so I'm going to do that. I might actually brighten this color because it is a bit dark. There we go, that looks nicer. Okay, so now we have this, and we hit enter to apply it. And then we can right click and then hover over select and then hit none, or shift control A. If I don't actually use that, but you know, it's I guess it's just preference really. And now we're going to add a little shine to it, which is probably my favorite bit. I quite like doing this. So you want to create a new layer which is above your text layer, and you want to alpha to selection the text layer again, and you want to pick a white color, just the whitest white, and you want to then go over to the ellipse tool, ellipse select tool, or hit E, and then you want to go over to the modes and you want to select subtract from the current selection, which is the third one, or you can hit control. Or control doesn't actually work, okay. So you just want to click it and it should apply it. So now you just want to drag your ellipsis tool, and you'll actually want to drag it from the bottom like this, so you have a curved selection around your text like so, and we'll leave it around there. Yeah, there's good. We'll go, so once we've done that, because this is where we're going to add our glare, so we're going to go to the transparent layer now, and we're going to get the gradient tool again with G, and then we're actually going to change the mode here to FG to transparent, and this will just add a white gradient to transparent, and we can add the glare with this. As you can see, it's quite bright, so we'll actually come more from the top, so it's not as bad. And oh, actually, right, I'll show you something. Once we have this selection on, you want to go to select and shrink, and we'll shrink this by about 3 pixels, we'll say. And this will basically add the glare, so it's not touching the edges, which kind of has a nicer effect, but it is up to you. And I just want to drag down like so, and then hit enter. And now we have this, which is quite a nice glare, but you can change the transparency if you don't want it to be that bright, which is up to you. So now we actually have two layers. We have the glare and the text. So we want these to be kind of just one layer. So we'll actually merge them together by right-clicking the one on the top, whichever one you have on the top. It's probably going to be the glare. And you want to, once you've right-clicked, you want to find merge down. And once you've clicked that, it'll basically create one layer like this. And now, once we've done that, we're going to add an outline around the text. So we'll alpha to selection the text again, and we'll go over to select, and then grow, and we'll put this to 10. 10's usually the sweet spot. That's quite big actually, so we'll undo that, and we'll half it down to 5. And yeah, so this is nice. You can see what the border will look like around the selection. And now you want to add a new layer, and then I'll have the border. I was gonna go for black. Yeah, I'll go for black actually. So we'll just choose the color that you want. I've chosen black, and then you want to drag the box onto the selection like this, making sure that you have a new transparent selection selected, and then you should have this, and then your text layer, and you want to drag the outline to the bottom, and it will add it as an outline. And now we can right click, select none, and now we'll just see what it looks like with the background. Okay, so it's actually looking quite cool. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I'll merge the text layer down to the outline, and we'll now actually go ahead and rotate it. So I'm actually gonna test something out before I... Okay, yeah, that's fine. So usually this is just a quick warning, when you rotate stuff, you want to make sure that you have the right thing selected on here, the interpolation. Don't get scared by that big word, because I'm not sure what it means either, but it basically changes how the image is altered when you rotate it, and this also counts for resizing, but we're not doing that. So I have it on no halo, but I'll just show you what it's like on cubic. It blurs it a little bit, which I don't like, and other ones make it more blocky. I think it's linear which does that. Oh no, linear is quite cool actually. It might just be none that does it. Yeah, so none adds really rigid and sharp edges, as you can see there, which isn't nice, but probably won't be seen in the thumbnail anyway. But I'm gonna go for no halo because that's best for me, but I highly recommend that you just try them all out and choose one that you like, and then you want to go ahead and rotate it whichever way you want, if you do want to rotate it, and then just hit rotate, and then we'll see what it's like with the background again, and that looks quite nice. So yeah, we'll go ahead now and add a shadow to the text, and to do this, make sure the text layer is selected. Go over to filters, hover over light and shadow, and then go to drop shadow. You can also get long shadow, which looks like this. You can change angle and length and things like that, but it's up to you really what you want. You can have it go all the way down, but yeah, I'm just gonna go for a basic shadow. So back here to drop shadow, and it'll basically add it like this. Now I think 20, the distance for 20 is always a bit too far away, so I'm going to half it down to 10 and hit enter, and this will basically take the difference away. And then you can go ahead, change the blur and opacity. I think I'll have it as that, so that's right for me. I recommend that you mess around with these. You can also change the color if you'd like, but if it's a shadow, it'll always be black mainly, so you want to go ahead, hit OK. And that looks pretty cool. I actually want to now move on to editing the background here. And I'm actually gonna add almost like a overlay to it. So I'm gonna add a nice pink overlay onto this image. So I'm gonna create a new layer and make sure it is above the image. And we're going to add pink onto this layer. And we're going to darken this pink. So we'll select it and darken just a little bit, not too much. And then we'll go over to the gradient tool again, go over to here, go over to custom, and we'll go ahead and we'll switch it because it's the wrong way around. And we'll make a gradient like so, and we'll hit enter. And now what we can do is we can basically have these two merged together. So you can either do this by just changing the opacity, which kind of works but not really. But I'm actually going to show you how to use blend modes. So you want to go over to where it says mode normal. Make sure that your gradient layer is selected. And you want to find 𝙔𝙤𝙪𝙏𝙪. We'll actually try that one first. So this actually adds quite a nice pink to it, as you can see. But you can really mess around with these. HSL color also works. It's quite sharp, that one, but it depends what color you use as well. I don't think black and white work. Those are the only two colors that don't show up. But apart from that, it's all good really. So luminant, that looks awful. Difference, that looks quite cool. But yeah, there's all these different ones that you can add. That's like a night vision one. Overlay, that is nice. Okay, so yeah, it's mainly just around messing around and investigating really. So yeah, now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and merge the gradient down into the image. So now we have that. That looks nice. Okay, and now we're actually going to go ahead and make an outline for our thumbnail. So we'll create a new layer, and we'll just move it to the top for now. Actually, we'll keep it at the top anyway, but now you want to create another gradient, and we already have the gradient set up, so we just have to drag like so, and we'll hit enter. And now you want to duplicate this gradient by right clicking and going over to duplicate, and then you want to resize the one that is on the top. So, and you want to unlock the aspect ratio, and you basically just want to move it so you have like a nice border here, but when your border will at the end, your border will actually be half the size of this. So I think that's the nice size for me there. And now we're going to go ahead and center this gradient on the X and Y. And as you can see here, this is what our border is going to look like, which is pretty cool. And we'll go ahead and alpha to selection the top layer, and then move over to the bottom layer, and then hit Ctrl X. And this will create a cutout, as you can see. So now we can delete this layer because we don't need it anymore. And then we'll add everything back and have a look at it. So it's looking quite cool, but there's still a couple of things that we can add. So we'll go to the border, the outline, sorry, and we'll add a drop shadow to it. We'll make it the distance 10 again, and we'll make the opacity quite heavy, just so it can be seen. I'll actually make sure, I'll put it to 0, because this actually centers the shadow, so there's no offset, which I actually prefer quite a bit. And I'll apply this shadow, and I'm going to go ahead and apply it again just so it's quite sharp. So we'll go to last used, like that, and then take down the opacity a bit, and then apply. Okay, so we have the outline here all ready and set up. And now just a couple more things, not too many things to add. We're going to add another layer that is above your background and below your text. Oh, well, it will be there once we're done with it, but we'll move it to the top for now. And then you want to select the colour white, and then select your brush with P, and you want to change the size so it's fairly big, so quite big like this, and you want to change the softness a bit. The softness already is on the right one for me, but you can mess around with it. And now I just want to carefully try and center it and click, and this will basically create a spotlight effect like this. And then you can put this above your background, and I'm actually going to go ahead and change the opacity because it is quite bright. And there we go. So what this does is it just adds a bit of a glare, which makes it look quite nice. And we'll go ahead and merge this down now just to reduce the amount of layers that we have. And now one last thing I think I'm going to add to this. I'm going to create a new layer and move it below the text layer and above the background layer. We'll go ahead to filters, light and shadow, and supernova. And once we've clicked this, you'll be given a box like this, and you want to select the color that you want to use. I'm going to use pink because it matches. And now you'll be given two little dials, I guess, like this. And this basically, one changes where the center of your supernova is going to be, and one changes the intensity of it. So I'm going to have it around here, I guess. You can mess around with these a lot. Random hue, you can use that if you want, but I'm just using the color pink, so we'll go ahead and hit OK. And now you can barely see the background, so we'll just go ahead, change the opacity on it so you can see the background a little bit better. And this just adds a cool effect in the background, which is quite nice. And now one more thing, I think I'm going to go ahead and blur the background a little bit, just so it adds depth a little bit. So we'll go ahead to filters again, blur, and Gaussian blur, I think that's pronounced. But yeah, you want to go over to that, and you want to click these dials carefully, and you'll see that it will blur it out a little bit. I think that one will do for me. And then we can add everything back, and that is how you make thumbnails for YouTube. There's other things that this can be used for. You can add many different things. There's quite a lot of text effects that you can use. I only showed one of them, but you can improve, and you can get much better than this when using GIMP. So yeah, I recommend that you learn a little bit more if you do have a YouTube channel and you want to create your own thumbnails. GIMP is definitely a great place to start because it's not hard to learn whatsoever, and it's much more easy to get around than Photoshop as well, because Photoshop has all the rasterizing layers, I think it's called, but that's just, it overcomplicates things, especially for beginners. So GIMP is the place to start, and if you do get better, you can always upgrade to Photoshop if you want to pay for it. And yeah, that is how you make a thumbnail. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, hit that like button. That will really help me out a lot, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace. I just remembered, guys, that I forgot to tell you how to actually export your image. So this is quite easy. You just go over to File again, go to Export As, and then it'll be untitled.png. I'm just going to save it to how to make thumbnails. I'll just name it how to make thumbnails.png, and then you just put it to wherever you want, and then hit export. And then I recommend not changing anything on here, but I don't change anything. I just hit export again, and then wait for that to fill, and then you'll be able to find your image wherever you saved it to. So yeah, Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.